Hey everybody, happy Friday. And I do mean Fried Day. Welcome to the Fried Day edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze because we understand that a different reality is not just possible, it's necessary. Necessary. The planet is ready for a revolution. I'm talking about literally Earth. Earth is like, oh, y'all just gonna let all this shit ride, huh? And Black and Indigenous people are like, no, Earth, we here, we coming. We just gotta defeat, you know who, and you know who, and y'all know who that is. And you know who and what they represent. And they represent death and destruction. So it is imperative upon us, the children of Jah, to make sure that the planet still stands, the animals, plant life, insect life, everybody still stands here. Because what else are we going to do? We just going to let a few dozen, maybe a few hundred people literally kill 8 billion people on the planet. That math don't even be mathing, everybody. That math don't even be mathing. So, you know, it is time to kick shit into the next gear and start fucking shit up for real, in a good way though, right? So I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. I'm trying to catch up with you guys. Let me try to get my little tushy here into the chat so I can check in with my folks. So happy to see everybody checking in. Really quick, let me kick off a couple of things, couple of thank yous. See Infinite Content off the top. Infinite Content, thank you so much. What are you trying to tell me here, Infinite Content? Infinite Content, you might as well be a producer over here, Infinite Content, because you be running stories, tagging stories. You never got to the Denver police shooting. You are correct, shooting unarmed citizens. And I said that I was going to mention that at the top of the show. And of course, but Infinite Content, you know I smoke a lot of weed. You got to work with me, man. you gotta work with me. I wish you could see the way I actually execute this. I rely too much on the stoner brain, which is, you know, that's not very smart of I. Not very smart of I. So Infinite Content, thank you so much. But that is something I definitely omitted from last show, Cops Ain't Shit, Colorado edition, where the Denver police were responsible themselves for a mass shooting. I believe, what did they shoot? Infinite Content, 5 or 6 unarmed people because they thought they saw somebody in the crowd with a gun. And even if the person didn't have a gun, that person wasn't shooting. The cops started shooting. So maybe we can clip that 15 seconds and tack it on to the end of Tuesday's show. But I'm sorry, Infinite Content, I forgot all about that. But a couple of things. Oh, we got a member. Okay, well, let's start there. So we just a couple of reminders here, just some house notes. Housekeeping. Chewy Craft, thank you so much for your membership. We appreciate that. And just a reminder to our members and to our patrons, we do have our September Ask Me Anything coming up next Friday. So this will be the first Ask Me Anything, the first AMA available to the YouTube members. So if you're not yet a member and you're not already a patron, because some of y'all have definitely signed up for both, and that is definitely appreciated, and that is love. But, you know, if for reasons you don't want to do Patreon, I totally understand. Go on and sign up for that membership right there on YouTube. Ooh, I said that very Baltimore, on YouTube, and you guys can kick it with the AMA. Now, everybody knows, well, maybe y'all don't know, but the AMAs I enjoy the AMAs. Let me not speak for everybody else. I was going to say the AMAs are really fun. They're very engaging. People ask great questions. I enjoy the AMAs quite a bit, and I'm pretty sure the people that participate regularly also enjoy the AMAs. So come and join us next Friday, September 30th. We do the Ask Me Anythings once a month, always on the last Friday of that month. So come on and do that. Also, I have been very remiss in pushing our merch. We do have merch on the channel. And let me show y'all. This is a Burn It Down with Kim Brown coffee mug. Ooh. Look at that. Ooh, that's very white. Ooh, but look at that. There go the flame. Woo, here come the flame. Put your tea, your coffee, your kombucha, whatever it is that you sip. Your whiskey for y'all sippers, put your whiskey in there, And do that. You can find the merch link in the community section or in the about section of the channel. Our merch is actually very reasonably priced, can I say? And we shout out to Tunde for that. Tunde price pointed that shit very well. I think our merch is extremely affordable. We're not trying to hit people over the head because even though I mean, we are here to create revenue for the channel because this is Black woman owned and led independent media. But I mean, I'm never trying to hit people over the head for nothing, So anyway, check out the merch. Here's the show y'all one more time. And shout out to my mom for buying this. My mother was like, "How come you don't ever put your merch on this when you're doing the show?" I said, "You're right. I'd be forgetting. There'd be other things going on." Also, if you check, I'm so sorry for everyone that's new and not used to all this fucking housekeeping. The top of the chat, that box right there with all the links and shit. Let me just remind everybody, September, well, number one, here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown, ever since the Dobbs versus the Jackson Women's Health Clinic decision, ever since that came down, we have made it a point here on this channel to be supporting grassroots abortion funds in abortion restrictive states. And we are probably going to start supporting abortion funds in non-abortion restrictive states because those abortion clinics in places like New Jersey and Maryland and DC and Illinois, they are very busy, as you can imagine. They are getting overwhelmed themselves. But this month, we are supporting the Arkansas Abortion Support Fund. If you click on the box, it's in our link tree. We, as a channel, are donating $50 to these abortion support funds. And all we ask, if you guys are able, to please just match us $5. $5, trust me, every single dollar counts. We're talking about people's lives here. We're talking about literally, potentially life and death situations or freedom versus jail situations, right? So just a reminder, America ain't shit. Women in America do not have the full rights of life and liberty. It is not liberty for you bitches. It is babies. Babies is what America wants for you. Not liberty, not freedom. Babies for you bitches. Okay. So we're trying to make sure that bitches have choices. I'm a bitch. I say I want choices out here. Let me not speak for all the bitches. Let me just speak for myself. But I'm speaking on behalf of the bitches. The bitches say, fuck that. We want bodily autonomy, and whatever we can do here on this little channel, on this little platform to make sure that pregnant people have access to that vital health care, we will continue to do that. Okie dokie. Now, y'all know, let's get into the show. Ooh, yeah. Let's get into the show. I could talk my other shit a little later. That's cool. Shout out to everybody that's checking in. I see your infinite content. I see your, wait, is that everybody? Oh, Courtney's in here. Court. Did you check your email, dearest? Check your email, Courtney. I sent you something. And thank you, Courtney, for reminding everybody. INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that mean, man? Shout out to Webby and Trina. Come on, I need a bad bitch. What? If you a bad bitch, come on. What? If you a bad, a girl be cooking and cleaning and cooking. She be constantly dishing and cleaning up on her TV. I was listening to that today. That should make me stand up like, woo. It make you start walking, strutting. I need a bad bitch. I'm like, yes. Well, not you, Webby, but the premise of the song, yes. I will not be your bad bitch, but yes, generally, yes. I subscribe to the feeling and the sentiment of bad bitch right there. But you see the title of the show. It says, Rich White Folks Are the Best Thieves. Gang. Woo, the whites. The whites said, it ain't enough. It ain't enough that we already rich. It ain't enough that we already sitting on piles and piles of money. Ooh, I see there's been a pile of money allocated for the poor niggers. Let's get to it. Like just rubbing up their mittens, waiting to start hitting. Dog. So many stories this week about white folks doing big scamming, and I think it's important for us to do, again, a cursory roundup of such, and to examine the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how as to why when black folks steal, you niggas better not steal a pack of gum. It's going to make the evening news. But Brett Favre done pocketed $5 million. It took 6 months for it to become a national story. It took 6 months to become a national story. And, Ime Udoka's bad luck that he got caught doing some, I don't even know what he's accused of doing. We're going to get into that a little bit later too, because there is something very icky about this Ime Udoka story. The head coach of the Boston Celtics, who has been suspended for the 2022-2023 NBA season for violating team policy. Okay, organization policy. Okay, there's some shit in there I want to get into, and including by the fact I do not appreciate Nia Long being embarrassed in this way. I do not appreciate it. I do not appreciate it. Anyway, later. First, white folks scamming. Let's get into that. Give the video a thumbs up if you've not had have not had the chance already. And but I can't just immediately jump into Brett Favre. Oh no, because the white folks have been scamming all week. And I know y'all are like him all week, all millennia. Yes, I understand that. But we don't have, this is only an hour-long show, y'all. How much white folks scamming do you think we can fit into an hour? Not very much. So let me hop right into this. Let's get it in. So this story actually we covered on the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media. And I felt the need for the story to get referenced once again, because when I really dug into what Ime and them was doing in Minnesota, this was not little time scamming. So Rolling Stone reported on this as well as Black Power Media. We did this week, but not everybody gets up to watch the Remix Morning Show, and shame on you. You should watch it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. Eastern to 10 a.m. Eastern. It's the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media. So let's go to the Rolling Stone piece. Yeah. Headline: Minnesota nonprofit accused of buying luxury cars, vacation homes, with millions meant to feed hungry kids. And you know, guys, every now and again, we will get the stories about, the Bernie Madoffs, the pyramid schemes, Martha Stewart, to doing some insider trading. And I don't even really know who insider trading hurts per se. But, people do not, especially already wealthy people, especially some of these nonprofit appearing to be do-gooders, they really do not have a problem fucking over poor people, do they? So it wasn't just Ime. Ime was the main one. Pop that picture up of Ime. Scroll back up to the picture, Will, of Ime. What is this asking me? I don't know what just happened here. But so let's look at Ime. Now, it wasn't just Ime. It was Ime and 46 other people. 46 other people. At minimum, they were able to pilfer $250 million away from funds that were meant to feed kids, poor kids in Minnesota. 47 people were indicted in connection to an alleged operation. Attorney General Merrick Garland called it, quote, the largest pandemic relief fraud scheme charged to date. And look at put a face back up there, Will. The show ain't about me today. It's about the scheming whites, and I want to see they scheming ass faces. I want to see they scheming. Yeah, keep Amy face right there. Keep her right there. Now, can you imagine? Amy schemed $250 million and look like that. I would never. Bitch, if I was scamming $250 million, I would be iridescent with floss. Like, y'all wouldn't be able to gaze upon me with normal eyes. I'd be shining so bright, skin be puffed up and full. Amy. Maybe Amy showed up to court looking like that to make the judge think that maybe she didn't scheme $250 million, but she absolutely did. So that is Amy Bach. Amy is the executive director of the nonprofit called Feeding Our Future. Oh my gosh, the irony is never lost on these folks. Amy spoke out for the first time after accusations about the group's partners defrauded the federal government of millions of dollars. Okay. Now, what they said is that they stole $250 million that was meant to help feed hungry kids in Minnesota, instead went to luxury cars, commercial real estate, and vacation homes. The numerous charges were announced on Tuesday, September 20th, with the Department of Justice unsealing 6 separate indictments. In a statement, Attorney General Merrick Garland described the alleged plot as, quote, oh, God damn, okay, Rolling Stone, I already read that. The scheme is allegedly centered around the nonprofit group Feeding Our Future, whose founder and executive director, Amy Bach, was among the 47 people indicted. Bach and others are accused of defrauding the federal child nutrition program, which is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It helps to bring free meals to children in need. They literally stole hundreds of millions of dollars out of the mouths of hungry children. Demons. Absolutely satanic. A lawyer for Bach, Kenneth Udoka, pardon me, tells Rolling Stone, quote, an indictment doesn't signify guilt or innocence. It is the beginning of the criminal process. I'm surprised that Ms. Bach has been indicted because she did nothing worthy of indictment. Well, we'll see about that now, won't we? In Minnesota, the state's Department of Education oversees the federal child nutrition program. Meals are handed out at designated sites, which must be sponsored by an authorized organization such as Feeding Our Future. Now, why is that? How come the federal government is not able to do that directly? Why does it have to hire contractors, as it will, or subcontractors in order to hand out these meals? You're telling me the federal government doesn't have the manpower, literally, to do that, or the state of Minnesota does not have the manpower to do that? They have to contract the feeding of children out to others? That sounds like some bullshit. That sounds like a way for the federal government to intentionally be fleeced out of tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. Again, I am convinced that the federal government is just a scheme machine, right? Just available for the proficient of those people with paperwork, right? If you can get your paperwork right, dog, you can run all kinds of games on the Fed, and by and large, they may not even catch you. If this was a Trump administration in office, I will say, I mean, because it's equally parts fuck Trump and fuck Joe Biden. But I bet you if that was Bill Barr is still sitting as the attorney general at DOJ, this is not some shit that Bill Barr would have even been investigating, I assure you. At the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, the USDA relaxed some of the requirements to participate in the federal child nutrition program, allowing for nonprofits to participate for food to be distributed to children outside of educational programs. Though these changes were approved ostensibly to make access to food easier during the pandemic, authorities argue that Feeding Our Future exploited them to make off with millions. In 2019, Feeding Our Future was receiving and distributing about $3.4 million in federal funds. By 2021, that number had jumped to nearly $200 million. Now you know. Now you know. Who said it on the morning show? I think it was Kamau, who said the ways that these things are able to be approved and be processed is because clearly there's a person on the inside. There's somebody working for the government that is approving this specific organization headed up by this specific person to receive this specific amount of money so they can get their specific kickback. How the fuck you go from $3.4 million in 2019 and then in 2021, you get over 200 million? My God. Employees at the organization are accused of recruiting individuals and entities such as restaurants to open FCNP sites throughout Minnesota. Shell companies were allegedly created to enroll the program as sites too, and additional shell companies were made to launder the money at all of these sites claimed was going to feed hungry kids. $250 million. And the Department of Justice says that is the floor. That is the floor for the size of this scam. $250 million. So y'all keep that number in mind. Let's go on to the next one. Hold on here. Hold on. Let's go to, because I'm trying to give y'all different examples of white folks scheming just this week, okay? So that was them. That was Amy for Feeding Our Future in Minnesota. $250 million stolen from the mouths of hungry children. And this is a story. The next one is going to be the website business name for George Floyd spurs controversy. Now, this is something that I just happened to catch because you guys, if you follow me on Twitter, you will know that I have not really been on Twitter. But I pop in hither and thither, not to even be nosy. I don't even know what the fuck's happening on Twitter, but I'm on there looking for stories. So there's people that I follow who are independent journalists, not like myself, but we, whatever, we, real recognize real, as it were. And there are two journalists that I follow whose work that I've been following. One of them is Talia Jane. Talia, I think, has her account locked right now, but Talia was covering the white supremacists coming to DC and New York. I think she covers labor as well. She covers a lot of police shit. White woman. She John Brown Brigade. She's with the shits. And the other one, the other journalist is at the Twitter handle at Film the Police LA. And I saw them talking back and forth. They were posting these screenshots from this Twitter user, pardon me, whomst was written about by Unicorn Riot. Let's pop that Unicorn Riot article up. Make a long story short. Back in June, Unicorn Riot wrote this piece. Website business named for George Floyd spurs controversy. Local activists question if Black death is exploited. Now, what happened is there is a white woman in the Minnesota area who's apparently not from Minnesota. She's a white woman from New Jersey. And after the murder of George Floyd, she helped to produce a documentary about what happened to Mr. Floyd. She also registered a number of websites and created George Floyd LLC in addition to registering GeorgeFloyd.com. Because what she said is that she wanted to register these entities in order to protect the family, in order for the family to not have George Floyd's intellectual property stolen from underneath them. And I listened to a Twitter space today in which she was being interviewed. Her name is Suzanne Medes, Medes. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because this woman in this Twitter space today, the Twitter space was like 2 hours long, and God damn it, I listened to that shit. And this lady pulled out everything. When I tell you she pulled out every victimized white woman trope in the book, she didn't leave anything out. She didn't leave anything out because she's upset that she claims that she was doxxed by Talia and Film the Police LA because she registered these websites, but this dumbass didn't hide her information, right? So when you register a domain, you should go ahead and pay that extra $9.99 to keep your government name and your literal physical address from being connected to this domain property. And she failed to do that. So she claims because they posted the publicly available information connected to the owner of GeorgeFloyd.com, she claims that they doxed her and she has threatened to sue them. And I listened to this Twitter space where this woman started fake crying. And then she started talking about that people was calling her homophobic. And then she's like, but I'm gay and I'm disabled and I'm white. And why? She started crying and said, lady, knock it off. Knock it off. And regardless of the relationship that she might have with the George Floyd family, and again, I can only take her word for it. I'm not really sure if the family has spoken about the ownership of George Floyd intellectual property by this white woman or not. But if you go to Film the Police LA's Twitter page, he posted a screenshot of her Twitter where she is claiming to be selling GeorgeFloyd.com for $3 million. What? I'm sorry, what? I thought you was giving it to the family. How is this? You bought the domain, but you claim you bought it for them. So how is this yours to sell? And even though you claim to have good intentions to be protecting George Floyd's name and GeorgeFloyd.com, who asked you to do that? Anybody ask you to do that? Did you come around and try to play Captain Save 'em, Captain White Savior, and nobody asked you to do that, Suzanne? But Suzanne is big mad. And shout out to Unicorn Riot, because Unicorn Riot when I was doing my internet searches for information about this particular story, Unicorn Riot was the only place that had something about it. And they reported on this back in June. So from what I understand, Minneapolis Twitter has been giving this lady the business. They have been giving her ass all the business, all the business. And I don't know if I would take it as far as, is it safe to say she was scamming? I mean, I don't know what money she's gotten out of it, but the fact that she is willing to sell GeorgeFloyd.com for a price, whereas she had claimed that she had purchased this entity for the family, I think that does qualify as a scam. I think it qualifies as a scam. Oh, and by the way, she says that this negative press has caused her to lose her job and become evicted. And it's like, well, stop trying to profit off Black Death, and maybe bad things won't happen to you. Maybe we make better choices in the future, huh, Suzanne? Let's try that. But I'm going to be watching that story because that seems really interesting. And again, it's because of the journalist that I saw connected to it is why I give it credibility, because I find Talia and Film the Police LA to be very credible and ethical and reputable journalists. So I'm inclined to believe them over Karen on Twitter Spaces crying because she getting picked on. Karen, simmer down. Calm down. But then let's get to the big meat of the story. Let's get to the big story of white folks doing ginormous scamming. It's scamming, again, from the mouths of poor people. So the Brett Favre story finally is beginning to get some traction over about the past week and a half. It has gotten some traction, and there has been some plea deals in connection to this massive welfare corruption scandal, which needs to be leading the local and national nightly news as often as really any other story, right? So I want us to play this clip from CNN. I know that sort of goes against my values to do anything CNN, but I listened to this report. It's a concise, succinct 2 minutes, which I think does a good job of encapsulating the people involved, giving an idea of some of the numbers involved, and I want you guys to give it a listen. But just keep in mind, keep Brett Favre in the back of your mind, because Brett Favre is really could be the catalyst of this entire story. I know that they were stealing from welfare recipients and the welfare fund in Mississippi prior, I would imagine, prior to any of this. I'm sure stealing from the welfare fund in Mississippi is standard operating procedure. I'm sure every governor's administration comes in and steals from the fund. And I'm sure that's what the fund is there for, basically, right? It's labeled welfare, but it's meant for kickbacks and cronies and political connections and our allies. But anywho, some people are potentially going down. Some guilty pleas have been offered. I don't know if jail is in these people's future. It should be, but let's get an update from CNN. Let's take a look.
Yeah, John. So John Davis, the former director of the Mississippi's welfare agency, pleaded guilty in state and federal court on Thursday in connection with what officials have called the largest public corruption case in Mississippi history. In federal court, Davis pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy and 1 count of theft from programs receiving federal funds. In part, in a statement, the DOJ said at Davis's direction, Mississippi Department of Human Services provided federal funds to 2 nonprofit organizations and then directed the 2 nonprofit organizations to fraudulently award contracts to various entities and individuals for social services that were never provided. Now, in state court, just a short time after appearing in federal court, he pleaded guilty to 5 counts of conspiracy and 13 counts of fraud against the government. Now, as leader of the Mississippi Welfare Agency, Davis oversaw the funds that were then funneled through these nonprofits into pet projects for celebrities and the politically connected. Pet projects like a volleyball center backed by Brett Favre at his alma mater, where his daughter played the sport at the time. You may remember last week there were text messages that were released that you referenced there as part of a civil suit. A nonprofit founder, Nancy New, who has already pleaded guilty for her role in this conspiracy, and Brett Favre, former Republican Governor Phil Bryant, discussed John Davis, with Favre even talking about how he loved him and the millions of dollars that that he would be getting for this volleyball center. We should point out here that Favre has been named in a civil suit brought by the state of Mississippi, but he has not been criminally charged. His attorney says that he did not know that the money was coming from welfare funds. Former Republican Governor Phil Bryant has not been named as a defendant in a suit.
Can I just remind everybody, this is Mississippi's biggest state corruption scandal ever. We're talking tens of millions of dollars. What was the number I saw? I think I saw $77 million. I mean, this is not a small thing. And the fact that there are people here already pleading guilty to federal charges, et cetera. But interesting about the civil cases, right? The civil suits. Brett Favre named in the civil suit. Former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant named in a civil suit. How come ain't no charges, though? Where's that fraud charge? Where's the conspiracy to defraud the government? Where's all the shit they hit Kwame Kilpatrick with? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Anywho, hold on real quick. Let me acknowledge some of our supporters. Franny France, thank you, dearest. Thank you so much for your super chat. Humorous, great to see you back here. Humorous says, I truly enjoy watching Kim Brown on her own station. It's more fun than when she's on Status Quo. But it's such an enjoyment to come and listen and see what you all say. Thank you so much for that, Humorous. We appreciate that. I enjoy Status Quo very much, but Status Quo, again, it's not my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta keep my shoes on at Status Quo, and that's fine. That is all well and good. But when I'm home, I'm at home, okay? and I'm gonna act like I'm at home, and that's that. But thank you so much for your support, Franny France and Humorous as well. But okay, so Brett Favre not charged criminally. Phil Bryant not charged criminally. Also, just of note, so the current governor, Tate Reeves, fired the person who was doing the audit over this welfare fund, fired him, right as he was about to get started. Now, Tate Reeves is deeply connected to the University of Southern Mississippi. He has a lot of political allies and friends there, according to the independent outlet Mississippi Today. I'm very happy, by the way, to see Mississippi Today getting its proper shine out here, because Mississippi Today is a good independent media outlet in Mississippi, and they broke this shit months ago. But anyway, so Reeves, the current governor, fired the auditor who began to dig all of this up because of Reeves's connections and alliances at Southern Miss. So it seems to me that Tate Reeves needs to be investigated in his bitch too. You know what I'm saying? Investigate him for also crimes against humanity for the failure of the Jackson water system there. So, you know, the Merrick Garland sounds like you got some work to do, sir. you need to continue to do some work down there in Mississippi. But it has really taken people screaming online, pulling out their fucking hair, demanding that these sports outlets, in particular, the Fox Sports, the ESPNs, like, it took several days for them to even report upon this issue with Brett Favre, with the same sort of breathlessness that they report when black athletes do something criminal, right? Do y'all recall? Do y'all recall when a young football player by the name of Jameis Winston, when Jameis was in college, first of all, Jameis was a fucking menace. I don't know what the fuck Jameis Winston was doing with his life. But when he stole them crab legs, or let me even rephrase, because I don't even know that Jameis stole the fucking crab legs. Jameis says somebody hooked him up with the crab legs. And because he's Jameis Winston, I would imagine there would be Publix employees willing to hook him up with some crab legs. Like, that doesn't seem like a stretch. But when the story about Jameis stealing the crab legs broke, Lord have mercy, white people made it sound like he stuck up the Brinks armored truck as it backed up to the Bank of America. Like this shit was dead presidents. Like he had the face paint on. They made it sound like Jameis stole a lot, right? Jameis stole $24.99. I'm sorry, $24.99 worth of crab legs. And this shit was national news for a month. Right? National news for a fucking month. And I just wanted to show y'all, because by the way, can I say, I don't know if Google or YouTube is screwing me specifically, is screwing up my algorithm specifically, but it is very difficult for me to find older shit, right? The Jameis Winston stuff, when was that? Like, I don't fucking know. What was that? 2014 maybe? Hard to find commentary specifically. I was looking for first takes. I was looking for Barstool Sports's. It was not. I was having some difficulty finding things, and I'm like, okay, YouTube, you've been on the interwebs long enough that shit from 2009 really should not be that hard to find. And I don't understand why YouTube makes it more difficult to find older things, but they absolutely do. So I was trying to find some hating ass whites talking about Jameis stealing crab legs, and I was able to find this little doucher right here, and he is from a tiny YouTube channel talking about, I think it's called Ride the Pine or Eat the Pine. I don't know what it's called, but this was just an example of the condescending snarkiness that was aimed at Jameis Winston. And let me just say it again. I know a lot of the shit that Jameis Winston is accused of doing, which is why I'm not particularly here to defend Jameis Winston. I'm just here to show a contrast in coverage and tone and the ways in which black crime is magnified, over-magnified, over-dramatized, over-exaggerated when black people do this much stealing. But when white people do this much stealing, you got to keep sending news outlets tweets like, are y'all going to talk about this? Are y'all going to talk about this? But let somebody let John Morant walk into CVS and steal a pack of $12.99 condoms. That's just going to make every national news outlet. But I digress. So Will, let's look at that gentleman's sports commentary when it came to Jameis Winston and those infamous crab legs.
Jameis Winston was selected by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the #1 overall pick in the 2015 NFL Draft. And it took less than an hour for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to regret that decision when Winston posted a photo of himself enjoying a large plate of crab legs. Now, you may remember that Winston was accused of stealing crab legs from a grocery store called Publix in Florida while he was a student at Florida State, which probably explains why the photo was deleted from Winston's Instagram account just a few hours later. Now, for a lot of you who feel like this photo wasn't a big deal, just a joke and a troll, let me clarify something for you. You're a moron. But don't take my word for it. Let's go to Twitter and see how they reacted. Jameis Winston is the first player to steal crab legs and be drafted #1 overall. Hashtag the more you know. Jameis Winston should have posed with a plate of crab legs and a bag of roofies. Ooh. If you are upset about the Jameis Winston crab leg photo, you are dumb. If you don't get why people are upset about it, you're dumb. Of course, Jameis Winston had a plate of crab legs to celebrate being the #1 pick. Now he can afford to pay for them.
Yes, now he can afford to pay for them. But the rub was he probably could afford to pay for them in the first place. Well, actually, that's actually not true. Let me double that. Let me walk that back just a bit, because and I'm also thinking of Cam Newton here. Cam Newton, whom when he was at his first year at Florida, was accused of, well, not even accused. Cam got charged with some shit. Cam got charged with some felonies, some felony thefts, so whatever, in connection to him allegedly stealing some classmates' laptop. But at that time, NCAA students could not monetize their name, image, or likeness. So you had student athletes like Jameis Winston and Cam Newton who were generating millions of dollars for their respective football programs and their schools and not getting a fucking dime off of it. And that again, part of the exploitation, no one was talking about how much the schools was stealing from Jameis and Cam, right? If they are earning and making all kinds of money off merchandise and television deals, et cetera, endorsements or whatever. I mean, hello, Jameis and Cam should have got broke off with some of that. And maybe Jameis wouldn't have been in there having to get hooked up with crab legs, or Cam could have afforded to purchase however many laptops he needed, right? But we don't want to talk about that theft, the labor theft, the exploitation of these young men's physical prowess and their talents. No, they allegedly stole things, so that made them bad people. So that made their, well, not in Jameis's case, and I don't think in Cam's case either, but it was debated about whether or not it would affect their draft position, whether or not it would affect whether or not they won the Heismans. Again, I think Cam came through with his Heisman, but those are the kinds of things that always hang over these athletes' head, even to the point, Will, did I have that article where Cam put up his mugshot? Jesus Cristo. Like on the 9th anniversary, did I put that in there, Will? If you have it, can you throw that up? On the 9th anniversary of Cam Newton being arrested, he put on his Instagram a picture of his mugshot. Again, he was hit with these felonies. Like, Cam was charged with some charges here. Fortunately, again, they were dropped. But how could you even think to make him a scapegoat for his own poverty? You know what I mean? And that is odd to me. That, okay, so some might argue, well, the reason why the Jameis and Cam stories were bigger stories than this Brett Favre story was, or were made into bigger stories than the Brett Favre thing was, is because Jameis and Cam were, right there at the precipice of beginning to start their professional careers, and Brett Favre has long since been retired. Be that as it may, Brett Favre is still an NFL icon. Brett Favre has been a league MVP more than once. He is, how many Super Bowls the Packers win with Brett Favre? 2 or 3? He's got Super Bowl rings. Brett Favre is in the Hall of Fame, right? So Brett Favre is a significant sports figure, even though he has been out of the league for a number of years. And the egregiousness of the level of theft at which he did in comparison to his wealth and from whom he was doing the stealing is what makes this such a ginormous story. And the fact that Brett Favre has deep political connections within the state of Mississippi. And apparently not just him. They said Ted DiBiase. They said the $1 Million Man. You got to be a real WWE fan. Oh, I'm sorry, WWF fan, WWF, to remember the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Said, oh, Ted DiBiase going outside. But that don't shock me, though, because remember, Ted DiBiase had Virgil. Racist. But you knew Ted DiBiase was a fucking racist the way he would be treating Virgil. Anyway, so I was watching what's Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless's show. Whatever the fuck that is, right? The Fox First Take. I don't know what the fuck the name of the show is. Undisputed, right? Fox First Take is what I call it. Fuck it. I was watching Fox First Take with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. Man, I should have pulled that because Shannon went off so hard, like his country almost overtook his word. Like he had spittle flying out of his mouth. He was furious. But Shannon's point was, number one, he doesn't think there's going to be any real repercussions for Brett Favre, and I can understand why he would think that, right? He thinks that this is just going to be a blip. And people are going to move past it because Brett Favre is so liked and loved. But he also pointed out there's been a number of Brett Favre scandals that Brett Favre has just managed to, skate on over because he is who he is, including the scandal where he was texting a masseuse from the New York Jets, texting her suggestive things, unsolicited things. And those texts were released, but I don't think anything happened to Brett Favre. He mentioned that Brett Favre had a number of addictions. But they also brought up a very interesting point on Fox First Take. And they said his career earnings, would y'all like to know how much money whilst playing professional football that he earned just from football, not endorsements, not not anything extra schmextra, just straight from football. Y'all know how much money Brett Favre made, according to Fox Sports News? Over $130 million. $130 million just from football, right? And Brett Favre couldn't dig in his pockets to find $5 million for his own daughter's volleyball program. No. He had to check his political connections and see if he could get it out the welfare fund. And he knew he was wrong because in the text messages, he was double checking that there's no way that the media would ever find out that he got the money and where the money came from. So the motherfucker knew he was wrong, right? Knew he was dead ass wrong. Dead ass wrong. But Brett Favre, is Brett Favre gonna get the Jameis Winston treatment? Is Brett Favre gonna get the Cam Newton treatment? Is this entire scandal gonna get the proper national scrutiny that it deserves? I hope that this is actually being used rather well and extensively in Russia and China as propaganda. The same way American mainstream media would also use such a scandal if it was someplace over there, particularly in a country whose political or economical ideologies in which we vehemently disagree, like Venezuela. Well, who else don't we fuck with? Iran. I'm surprised these Iranian protests are not getting more national news, but that's another story. If it was a place that China, if that level of corruption with that much stealing from specifically stealing from poor people, money designated to feed poor, hungry people, if that had happened in one of our enemy countries, we would know all about it. We would know all about it. So Russia and China, I hope you guys are using this as a very good propaganda opportunity, because I assure you, as I hope it is being reported in Russia and China, that there is no accountability in America, because America is a big fucking scam machine. The whites get to come here and scam everything. When I say everything, I mean what? Everything. Everything. No scam left unturned. No scam left unturned. Hold on. Let me take a memento real quick here. Do us a favor, guys. If you have not already liked the video, do us a favor and give us a thumbs up. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you all so much. Please subscribe to the channel. Consider becoming a member, or you can support us on patreon.com/BIDWKB. Shout out to Jasmine G. Thank you, Jasmine, for re-upping your patronage. I appreciate it. Thank you so much to Patrick S. and Carl L., who cashed apped us some support. You can cash app at $BIDWKB, Venmo at BIDWKB, and paypal.me/BIDWKB. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Helps to keep the lights on. Hey, Donnie. Ooh, everybody's in here. Ooh, we got some new folks in here. Some names that I do not recognize, but I'm so grateful and appreciate that you guys are over here. And shout out to my mods out here, Mod and Strong, Courtney the Stallion. Put some respect on Courtney name out here. And of course, Latif. Thank you. Is Chuck in here? Even if he ain't, we gonna send some love to our OG mod, Chuck Diesel, our main youngin'. You know we love Chuck. We love everybody. Shout out to Holly Horn. Hello, Ursula. Hello, Stoner Loner. They put Lizzie's been in the box, but they dropped Lizzie in her hole. Thank the Lord. If I can't, no, you know what? Let me keep my mouth shut. If you're watching the Remix 40 show on Black Power Media, y'all know what I said I will be doing on the graves of my enemies. And I was going to ask, is anybody got a shot to desecrate Lizzie's grave? But let me shut the fuck up before MI5 come over here and try to do something weird to me. So anywho, and like I said, please don't forget, if you have a few extra dollars, we are supporting abortion funds this month, the Arkansas Abortion Support Fund. And you can click the link at the top of the chat box and you can find a direct link to that organization right there. So now the big sports story, and I know y'all like, Kim, since when is this a sports show? Well, let me tell y'all something. Did I ever tell y'all that originally when I went to college, my intention, I did want to be like a sports reporter. Did I tell y'all? I may have said this in an AMA. I really did want to be like really, really, really. I watched ESPN all the time. I knew football, basketball, baseball, frontwards, backwards, knew enough hockey to skate, knew enough tennis to skate, blah, blah, blah. Girl, the first time I showed up to that Temple men's basketball practice, I was unable to concentrate. I can't concentrate. What? I cannot be around all these fine men and just be standing here. What? No, sports is not in my future, unfortunately. But some people would be like, well, then you went into music. I'm like, yes, but I didn't find most of them artists attractive. Even an athlete who has a butter face, the body, you know what I'm saying? Usually their body is going to be, it will catch your attention. But anyway, I'm sorry. I don't know why y'all needed to know that. But so what was in big danger of taking over the Brett Favre story, and for a minute it actually did seem to take over the Brett Favre story, was this still developing thing out of Boston with the head coach, Ime Udoka. And I'm a little reluctant to get into this because I feel as though there is not enough out there for an informed opinion to be cast. And I'm a little concerned about jumping the shark in one direction or another. And I'll tell you what give me a little bit of pause. So let me catch everybody up in case you're not familiar with this. So Ime Udoka is, I guess he would be the second year. This would have been his second season as the head coach for the Boston Celtics. And in his first season, he got them to the finals, which is very good for a first year head coach. He also is husband to actress Nia Long, right? So I said, oh man, oh boy's having a great year. Like, my God, how he pulled that off? Well, grand opening, grand closing. Goddamn, your manhole cracked the can open again. Who you gonna find open to him with no pen, just drawn inspiration? And Mr. Udoka is trying to find all kinds of inspiration right now because everything was all good just a week ago. What happened? So allegedly, according to The Athletic and according to a number of other sources, they report that the head coach for the Boston Celtics has been suspended for the 2022-2023 season because of allegedly violating the organization's policy. And what the Boston Celtics have revealed so far is that he was allegedly in a consensual sexual relationship with another member of the organization. Okay. And their use of the word consensual, I find a little strange, because if they were in a relationship, I mean, I would assume, if you're going to frame it that way, then I would assume that the relationship was consensual. Now, I know, obviously, there are power dynamics involved. As the head coach of the Boston Celtics, I am assured that this man wields a tremendous amount of influence and power. So whomever he decided to be involved with, sexually or otherwise, he definitely holds the cards in that situation, right? But let me tell you what is sort of making me pause a tad bit about, going in on this brother. Because I just really don't know. I don't know. I feel like the way that the Boston Celtics are reporting upon this is really weird, because all of this information had to have been leaked from the Celtics. And again, as pointed out by some other sports commentators, if you weren't going to fire him, then why is this news, right? Like, why is this out here? This sounds like some personal business. Maybe not personal because it happened on the job. But if he's stepping out on his wife with chicks on the job, I mean, that is kind of his business, right? But as the organization is concerned, they want to appear as though they are, you know, on top of the situation. But the problem is there is a lot of hypocrisy here, because let's not be naive. There are women in these organizations, and I'm not saying these women are not, of course they're fucking professionals. They PR professionals, and there's women coaches, women trainers. There's women in every aspect, mostly I would imagine, you know, in a lot of these professional sports organizations. But just like any other job, I mean, the people that work at Walmart is smashing. You feel me? Like, people smash on the job. That's what they do. And this is an example of that. But there's got to be another aspect of this that we are just not yet being told that could make this more sinister. Because again, I kind of don't see how this rises to a year suspension. But you guys remember Matt Barnes? Matt Barnes, former basketball player, played for, who did Matt Barnes play for? He played for Miami. Did he play for the Lakers too? A messy man. You want to talk about a messy light skin. My God, Matt Barnes is a mess. Just messy, messy, messy. He was willing to drive across the country to go fight Derek Fisher for allegedly messing with his old lady. And where else was Matt Barnes? Matt Barnes been in some Real Housewife-esque kind of drama in his life. And apparently last night on Instagram, Matt Barnes offered up somewhat of a defense of Ime Udoka. And today he deleted that shit and said, listen, I heard some things. Some people called me up and made me aware of details that I did not know about yesterday. So I'm sending thoughts and prayers to everybody involved. I said, if this messy bitch is walking it back and saying that it's worse than what we already know, it must be really, really not good. And let me say this. I know a lot of people, and actually let's get into one of those people if we could. Will pop up the tweet from another messy bitch, Congressman Jamal Bowman. If y'all, New York, go get your boy. Pop up the tweet, Will. This is what Jamal Bowman tweeted. You see Nia looking like Nia, shining, iridescent, beautiful. And here come this fool, a sitting congressman, Dirty Mackin, talking about sending nothing but love to Nia Long. We're not letting a man who didn't recognize the luxury of her present was dim. Wait, what the fuck? We're not letting a man who didn't recognize the luxury of her presence was dim all her beauty and glory. Matter of fact, we need a Nia Long national holiday. Jamal Bowman, if you don't sit your thirsty ass down, this lady done found out that not only has her husband embarrassed her, as Kelechi Okafor would say, not only has her husband embarrassed her nationally, here you come, trying to play the cleanup man, like Betty Wright. You the cleanup woman? Is that what you is? If you don't put your goddamn phone down, Congressman, and you need to go in there and address some congressional shit, don't worry about Nia Long's personal life, nosy ass nigga. Anywho. But no, I'm gonna get into of course, y'all know I have to talk about how men will embarrass you. Let me say that. I'm gonna save that for later, but hold on. Let me talk about this real quick, because there is this hyper morality policing of Black people in the public sphere, right? In a ways that does not happen to white people, right? At least not at the same intensity. And of course, I'm thinking immediately about Tiger Woods, right? Do y'all remember, and you really have to be kind of old enough to be able to put this in perspective, the ways in which, like, they were rinsing Tiger on the regular ass, local ass news, on Sports Center, on the national news. Tiger was getting rinsed. For what? Did he beat his wife? No. Did Tiger rape anybody? Not according to the reports. What did Tiger do? Was being a dirty nigga, right? But again, that's not against the law. Does it offend me personally? Sure. Do I give a fuck? No. That is his wife's problem. Girl, you knew what you had. You knew what you had, okay? You knew what kind of time the nigga was on. Maybe you didn't know, but even if you did know, that don't mean that that's some shit that needs to be reported to me at 5, 6, and 11. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not care if Tiger was out here stepping out on his wife, but it was a moral crisis. Like, it was a moral failing. Tiger had to come out here and apologize to us for cheating on his wife. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And it is this hyper over policing, this moral policing of Black people and the way that they conduct themselves, especially within the bounds of a relationship or within the bounds of marriage. Like, the monogamy is expected for Black people to perform, right? Even with the whole Will and Jada thing. Excuse me, I don't know why I have the burp so bad. Even with the whole Will and Jada thing, like, people still cannot get their heads around the fact that Will and Jada had an open relationship, right? Like, people still frame the Will and Jada situation, especially with August Alsina. I apologize for even talking about all the celebrity shit, but I'm trying to get to my point here. They frame that as though Jada cheated on Will, and it's like, no. Her and Will had an understanding, okay? Now, if you don't understand the understanding, then that's one thing, but don't be like, she's a Jezebel, she's this, that, and the third. No, you do not understand the inner workings of the relationship, which, for all I know, could be the case with Nia Long and Mr. Udoka, right? I don't know what the situation is, but it appears as though he was out here doing some dirtiness, right? But there is a determination to make Black people who do not meet the standard of moral, monogamous, marital perfection, to make them an example, to embarrass them, to punish them, even not legally, but punish them at their job or humiliate them publicly for falling short, right? And we don't come at white men the same way. We don't. I would venture there are so many white players who are married or white coaches who are married. Who is the homeboy? Who was the guy? Oh, fuck, that's going to fuck me up. They used to be down in Hawaii smoking weed with Woody Harrelson. Nelson? Was it Coach Nelson? He used to coach for Golden State, if I have his name right. I remember seeing an interview about him, and he was talking about how terrible he was to his wife. Hey, it's funny. I never heard a word about that while he was coaching, and he didn't get run out of coaching. He was able to retire. He retired, no problem. Meanwhile, he was being a whole whore out here running around on his wife. Ain't nobody say shit. But here come this man who had an exceptional, phenomenal first year of coaching, and we know all about his business, huh? Know all this man's business, huh? Am I a booger hunter? Sorry. But let me get to this. Sir, how you embarrass your wife like that? How you embarrass your wife like that? I'm going to assume that perhaps they do not have a Will and Jada situation going on, okay? I'm going to make that assumption. And I hope that Nia comes out and say, you know what? No, girl, I knew what he was doing the whole time. He had my permission. He had a pass. I'm in LA. He's in Boston. I knew what he was doing. Now, maybe she will say that and maybe she won't. She doesn't have to say any fucking thing, because at the end of the day, it is really not our business, is it? But it looks like he is embarrassing his wife. And girls, let me just tell y'all, do not marry these men. Do not marry them. Don't fucking do it. Keep your last name. Do not become a man's legal possession. Okay? I mean that. Because you need to be able to have the flexibility to dip out on this motherfucker as soon as he embarrasses you in public. I don't want to have to go through no kind of legal higgy hacker. I don't want to have to go through no year of legal separation. I want you to take your shit and get the fuck out my house, man. That's it. That's it. Because if you think you're just going to be out here all willy-nilly, banging bras on the job, meanwhile, I got to show up with you to the ESPYs and look beautiful. That's the other thing that pisses me off. Like, we have this expectation, or maybe society, or maybe I have this fucked up in my head, right? I look at women like Beyonce and Nia Long and all, just name one, right? gorgeous, drop dead, gorgeous women. Niggas be stepping out. I'm like, how? Like how could Jay-Z ever? How could he ever, sir? And this one now, Nia husband, he is a good looking man. I ain't going to take that away from her, but still, I'm still Nia Long. Let me be Nia Long here for a second. I'm still Nia Long, nigga. I'm Boys in the Hood Nia Long. I'm Friday Nia Long. I'm all kinds of Nia Long. I'm Love Jones Nia Long. Bitch, I am an icon out here for my generation for black women. I am a standard of beauty. Nia Long is widely unproblematic. I can't think of Nia Long out here talking crazy or saying anti-black shit or anything like that. Like Nia Long, who did I see? Somebody had a tweet up saying that Nia Long has a 100% approval rating amongst the black community. You goddamn right. I can't think of Nia Long. I'm having a very hard time recalling problematic things concerning Nia Long. She is most known for her beauty, secondly known for her acting, and respect. She's had longevity. Shout out to Nia Long. But I be goddamn if I go through the trouble of making a nigga my whole fucking husband and this motherfucker gonna do some shit like that to me, Nia Long, to me, ain't no way. Ain't no way. And I bet you Mr. Udoka think that he coming back to LA so he and Nia could work it out. Nigga, stay your ass in Boston. Stay your ass with that bitch in Boston. Afra, I see Afra in here. Afra, ask that bitch for some money. Right? Go ask that bitch for some money. Right? Ain't no goddamn way he gonna embarrass me. And that's the problem. And I think the embarrassment is still forthcoming because operating off of the word of a messy bitch like Matt Barnes, like there's more shit to come. Who child. But that is a separate issue, I think, from the scrutiny of the white gaze concerning itself with the ways and the inner workings of black marriage, black relationships, fidelity within black relationships. Not your fucking business, man. It really ain't. Not to the point where this man's got to be getting suspended for an entire year, unless, again, there's something else going on, which I imagine that there is. So there is that. So don't forget, Brett Favre, big stillin'. Don't take the foot off of the neck of the media to make sure that they continue to press. And shout out, and I bet you Mississippi Today is going to be on it. I want to know when Brett Favre is going to be charged criminally. It sounds as though he committed a crime. It sounds as though he committed fraud. It sounds as though he committed some sort of embezzlement or some misappropriation of funds. Brett Favre absolutely sounds criminally culpable in this situation pertaining to Southern Mississippi's volleyball program and the stealing of the money from the welfare funds. So let's just keep everything equal and in perspective here. If we're going to get on Jameis for weeks upon end about stealing crab legs and Cam Newton stealing laptop computers, can we have that same energy, perhaps even a tiny bit more, for the millions of dollars that Brett Favre stole literally out of the mouths of hungry Mississippians? Can we have that? Please. Who just ran us a box? That's evident content. Hey, evident content says, Nia sitting around the house listening to Love Don't Live Here Anymore on repeat. You better not go near that effing house, Kim. Listen, you abandoned me. Love don't live here anymore. Ime don't live here anymore. His shit is on the street. Ime don't live here anymore. Oh, man. That's what I'm saying. Nia, she not going to bust his windows, anything. Why would she do anything like that? Come on, she a grown woman. Get your shit. Send your brother over here. Come pack your shit. Get the fuck out, man. I'm not playing these games with you. But ladies, let that serve as a cautionary tale. You do not want to be legally entangled to a man. You don't. You don't. Because it is not an easy disentanglement, right? You got to pay out money to rid yourself of this man. Don't marry him and dump him for free. Dump his ass for free. Ugh. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Don't marry these men. Do not marry these men. Girls, if you want to get married, go and get you a wife. Don't get you, even if you're not gay, go get you a wife. I'm telling you, you will have probably a more fulfilling life with your wife. And I bet you your wife is not going to embarrass you like your husband, okay? Even if you're not gay, go get you a wife. I'm sorry. Because I can see the advantage to having a wife. People with wives live longer. People with husbands do not live longer. And that, don't argue with me. Argue with science. That make my stats. That make my stats. Who is that? What's up, yo, folks? Is there an age difference between Udoka and Nia Long? What's the age difference? I mean, but you got to tell me, yo, folks, thank you so much for your super chat support. What's the age difference got to do with anything? What's that mean? I'm gonna sit here and wait in the chat for that answer. Yo, folks, I do not know what the age difference is, but I don't see what the age difference got to do with anything, because he looked grown. He looked extra grown. I'm gonna assume this man is got to be at least 40. One law spirit. It is bad. What you mean? It's bad if you're trying to get rid of him in a hurry. You cannot get rid of your husband in a hurry, right? It's at least a year. You said, Afra say, wait. Yo, folks said older women getting played all the time, baby. Yo, folks, why don't you go talk to some girls in their 20s, talk about older women get played all the time, dearest. let me inform you about who is actually getting played. Because I assure you, the young girls are getting game ran on them strong. So I don't see what her being older has to do with it, to be perfectly honest. But I'm waiting for the age range. What's the age difference? What's the age difference, yo, folks? Because he look grown. This nigga got gray in his beard. It's not like he 25 and she 50. What is she? 50? No. If I'm 44, Nia Long is probably less than 10 years older than me. She's probably what, 51, 52? And what's he, even if he is 40? What you say, Alice? Afra has been trying to tell you that they're not married. Remember the Colorado police. They have to be married. They're not married? I'm so confused now. She's 51. That's what I thought. He's 45. Oh. 6 years apart, please. please. That ain't no big age difference. Talk to me when they double digit in years apart. 6 years? That ain't nothing. Tell him, Afra. Tell him, Afra. We scoop him 6 years younger than us like that. 10 years younger than us like that. 15 years younger than us like that. Come on. What's up, Humorous? Once again, great show, Kim. Thank you. Great high. Thank you. Humorous, I think you figured it out, baby. This is you got to consume the weed, the THC, and you'll get it. Yes. How high while watching y'all. Y'all be safe out there. It's not a safe country anymore. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much for being here, Humorous. We appreciate you. So I'm so confused. So they are not married. Now, all right. Well, then I'm hanging up. Then I'm getting off the phone because I was under the impression that they was married, and now y'all have me. Now y'all have blown up my whole thesis. Now my dissertation is in shambles. So my thesis is in shambles, and I'm getting off the phone with y'all. But listen. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Infinite. What's up, I Manifesto? What's up, Alicia, my niece? Northern Witch, my baby. We got some new youngins in here. Come through, Where Pilgrim. Frony Francais. Alice is Shelty. What's up, Shelty? Donnie. Dave Gamandi, what's up? Do me a favor. I want y'all to keep y'all fingers crossed, because Incubus has a contest, right? And the contest ends this weekend, and I'm gonna enter the contest because they're gonna pick a person to come to their final concert of this tour in Red Rocks, Colorado. I've never been to Red Rocks, and I just have a feeling that if I enter this, I will win it. I will win it. So fingers crossed that I win the Incubus experience to go see them in Colorado next month. I just have a good positive feeling about it. So gang, do me a favor. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you so much to my amazingly strong mods who come through and mod up the situation very serious. Latif and Courtney, you guys are the greatest. Thanks everyone for all your support. And don't forget, Wednesdays, Status Quo News, 5 p.m. Eastern. I don't know how I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Jordan hadn't say don't do it, so we're just gonna keep doing what we do. I just think I'm just a little different, but that's okay. That's okay. We gonna get them up to snuff. We gonna train them up so they understand how to accept KB here. And of course, Black Power Media. Oh, real quick. Go to BPM because Kalonji uploaded the press conference today with Shaka Zulu's lawyers. Shaka Zulu, the Disturbing the Peace, mogul and manager of Ludacris, is fighting for his actual life after being charged with murder in connection with the shooting of which he was defending himself in a self-defense shooting. So that press conference is on Black Power Media right now. I watched it. Kalonji gets a question in towards the end. It's worth watching. It's worth watching. So go to BPM and check that out. But aside from that, gang, I will see you guys back here on Tuesday. You guys are so amazing. Oh, it's Black Magic. It's Black Magic. Hi, Black Magic. Hi, Black Magic. I'd be so excited to see my people. I swear to God. Hi, Desiree. You guys are great. You guys are the most awesomest. Follow those places around the internet: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch at BIDWKB, on Twitter, Burn It Down KB. On behalf of Molly and Will, I'd like to thank everybody. Please don't forget, COVID is out here jumping on people. I do not want it to jump on you. Let me show y'all something real quick. These masks, I just got them from Amazon. They are, I guess, N95s, unless I hope Amazon's not selling the fakies, but they might be. But this is an N95 mask. I got a pack of 20 for about $12. So apparently the price of masks is about to start coming down because no one's wearing fucking masks in America because we live in a mad fucking nation that does not understand nor care about people who might get sick and die from COVID. So please get you some N95s, get you some quality masks if you're going to be indoors, because as the temperatures begin to fall and everybody begins to go back inside, the COVID numbers are definitely going to go up. So we don't want that. So please, COVID is out here jumping on people. I do not want it to jump on you. Wash your hands, social distance, wear your masks, and we'll be good. All right, guys. See y'all later. Bye-bye.